All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell podcast. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you've got your pumpkin spice latte already because summer is over. Fall is here. It's still hot in Texas, but I know it's cooling
It's not
off.
officially fall yet.
It's not?
I don't. I think it's mid-September when it's like the calendar is fall, but I don't know when.
I mean, this is coming out on September 12th, so
Yeah,
we're darn near
I
half
know.
through September,
Wow.
which is
pretty crazy.
blowing my mind. We got a great topic for you today. We're going to be talking about 7 training goals that you can tackle before 2025.
That's crazy. 2025. Whoa.
It does sound crazy. That's like a quarter of the way through the 2000s. How about that?
2020s.
No, I mean through like the 2000 to 3000.
yeah.
It's a
Wow,
quarter of the
that's
way
crazy.
through. No, that's not a quarter of the way through. That would be 2225. You could tell math is not my strong point. Let's just erase this and start over.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like struggle with motivation and like, you know, they want to work out, but they feel like they have to have a rabbit to chase. So, you know, here's 7 ideas that you can take and run with to kind of keep the motivation going through the end of the year. It's not a secret that Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the quote holidays, even though it's really only like 5 days of celebration, can really derail people's, you know, momentum, like get them off track. You know, that's our favorite saying. So the idea here is give you some practical stuff, and we're going to talk about like more specifically how to actually tackle these goals.
And how to implement them into the rest of your calendar.
Yes. Before we get into the 7 things, today's sponsor is Digital Barbell.
Oh.
We're self-sponsored today because we just want to encourage you that if you've been listening to our podcast, you follow us on social media, you see like what we're about, you see what we stand for, our motivation behind like wanting to help people, seeing the results of our clients, all the client videos we post in Instagram and that kind of stuff, but you still haven't reached out to see if we can help you. I want to encourage you to do that today. You have nothing to lose to reach out and see what your options are. We're not going to like try to get you on a sales call, give you any kind of high pressure sales pitch. But if you just check out the show notes or the description of this episode, you can click on a link. It'll show you your options for working for us. And I promise
Working
you
with
this.
us.
Yeah. Or we have people reach out all the time that want to work for us too, but that's not what we're looking for in this episode and sponsorship. But we'll even offer you a 2-week money back guarantee that if you come and train with us and you don't like the experience after 2 weeks, we'll just, you know, part as friends, give you your money back, and on you go. So it's a 0 risk proposition.
Yeah.
And you know, we're confident in doing that because we have clients that have been with us 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and we're not worried that you're not going to love the experience. And we've already talked about in a recent episode how the price of personal training is just bonkers. You're going to get a better experience than personal training, not only like on the relationship side of like working with myself, Blakely, or Haley and becoming like close with us, but also you're going to get better results because we've seen what personal trainers are often doing with their clients in the gym, and we're not going to waste your time with any of that nonsense.
But yeah.
Some. So anyway, we're sponsoring this episode, so boom.
right.
Thanks for being here, Digital Barbell.
All right.
Are
we ready?
I still got this dry cough, so
Yeah.
y'all forgive me. I'm going to try to step away from the mic when I need to rip one out.
That didn't sound right. Step out of the room if that's the case. All right. 7 training goals to tackle before 2025. Crazy.
Here we go.
All right. Here's the list. And we're going to go through like each one. We're going to kind of give you some ideas. And then at the end, we will talk through how you can actually implement this.
Perfect.
Into, you know, a practical way. But the first one, I think this is so many, when I was in the gym, this was when I did goals for everybody, like everybody got to pick their own goals. This was so many people's goals. So if you don't have one yet, getting your first strict chin up or pull up.
Heck yeah.
I love this goal. And even if you have strict chin ups or pull ups, getting better at them, getting more in a row. Like if you can do 1 or 2, getting a little bit stronger at them.
Why don't you tell everybody real quick the difference between a chin up and a pull up in case they don't know?
Okay, a pull up is where you have a neutral grip, like a hands over the bar facing forward, and a chin up is a reverse grip.
Yeah.
Most often people will get a chin up before they'll get a pull up because with the chin up you get to recruit a little bit more bicep, and that actually makes it a little bit easier. It's not like, oh, it's not cheating or anything like that. It's just 2 different grips.
Yeah.
And There's also like neutral grips. If you go to like a gym where you get to do your pull-ups on the squat rack, a lot of times they will have a neutral grip. And I find that those can even be easier than the chin or the pull.
Yeah.
All three count in my book.
Yes.
You know,
Okay,
as
I'll
long as
just
it's
clarify
strict.
something because in the first you said a pull-up was the neutral grip, but pull-up is overhand
grip.
Neutral is like
Neutral, yeah. Sorry, I didn't
fight
mean,
the power
yeah.
grip. And
like
chin up is
just
on,
like your hands naturally sit. Yeah, and
Right.
chin up is a reverse grip.
Okay, cool.
You know what? I'm over here looking at a piece of paper with a link on it.
How do you click on that?
How do I click on
How do you
that
click
link?
that link?
Okay, but we do have an entire document that we will put in the show notes about literally how to get better at pull-ups and how to get your first pull-up.
Yeah.
Can we pause and let me get something to read this on real quick?
Yeah,
Because
if
I
you
do
want
want to
to
read a couple notes.
Yeah, sure.
Hold on a
I'll
second.
wax nostalgic while you run out of the studio here. But like, all these like things that we develop, these like giveaways and stuff like that are all born out of things that people need help with. And like Blakely said, it is super common for like people to want to have that feat of strength. I did a strict pull-up. I lifted my own body weight, got my chin up over the bar. So that's why we made this how to get your first pull-up document. That's going to take you a long time to find.
No, it's the link is right here.
Okay. Bear with us while we try to open my laptop. My fingerprint isn't working. Goodness gracious.
Can we cut this part out? Just
No, it's too much time to edit. Let's just roll with it. Okay, we're up and rolling again.
All right.
So let me tell you this. All you got to do to get this free document is go to digitalbarbell.com. Up at the top, there is a free content button. Hold your mouse over that or click on it if you're on your phone. Go to free products and training programs or something like that. And it's on that page. It's just called How to Get Your First Pull-Up. You just put in your email address and we'll send it right over to you.
So the document will start with, just giving you some points of performance of like, what position your body should be in when doing a pull-up. The first thing is, you don't want to just be like dead hanging there, like flopping around on the bar.
Yeah.
You want to be like in a nice, like hollow body position. And you want to choose the right grip, pull-up, regular, neutral, or chin up.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk through some exercises that will actually like get you better and stronger for pull-ups. One of them is doing dumbbell rows, which we do a lot of in Digital Barbell. So if you haven't quite got this yet, one thing that you can do is add in some dumbbell rows. If you're not doing those already, you can add in things like reverse flies, bicep curls, face pulls. You can add in things like inverted rows or ring rows. This is where you get your body at an almost horizontal position, and you can scale this by the, how high or low you are in that horizontal position, how much of your body weight you're pulling, and do these type of pulling exercises. And you can, once you're, getting pretty strong at this movement, but you haven't quite got up there yet, you can start to do things like negatives, where you get yourself chin over bar and then you let yourself go for like 3 to 5 or more seconds, slowly down, building strength in that entire range. So those are just some ideas of exercises that you can add into your routine if this is a goal that you want and you're not doing these type of movements yet.
Yeah. The bottom line is like, you shouldn't only keep like getting up there and struggling to do pull-ups. If you want to get better at pull-ups, you can use bands and things like that, but we got to get the muscles that are contributing to the pull-up or the chin up stronger. And that's going to make you eventually be able to get it.
Yeah.
Does it say in this guide that you can also just lose weight? That'll make it easier to get yourself over the bar too.
But if this is one of your goals, definitely click on this link in the show notes, because there's going to be a whole sample week of how to incorporate a lot of these exercises. So this is something that you can implement like week by week, month by month as the year progresses to see if you can get that first pull up.
So if you already can do pull-ups and you're trying to get better at them, we can do more sets of pull-ups during the week. We can incorporate more into your warm-up. We can do weighted pull-ups. We just have to take advantage of progressive overload, just like every other exercise. And then your max set is going to continue to grow.
And you mentioned bands. That's another good thing. Like if you have like 1 or 2 pull-ups and you do want to get better at them, like doing your set of strict pull-ups first. Like if you're going to do 3 sets of pull-ups in your exercise, in your routine, do your set with no band first. And then maybe do some sets with bands,
Right.
because then that's just going to allow you to get more volume. So if you can only do 1 to 2 pull-ups in a row without assistance, go ahead and always try those first, so you don't wear out your muscles, and then add the band so you can get that volume. And you'll notice that like the band strength that you need will continue to decrease, and the number of pull-ups that you can do in a row will continue to increase.
Yeah.
And the last thing we did mention in this article is patience. Like this is not something that is going to just be like, I'm going to do this for a week and I'm going to get better at pull-ups. These are some of the smallest muscles that we're trying to grow in our body. That's why I like when we do things like reverse flies or face pulls, and the people kind of get frustrated that they don't progress like they do in other movements. That's because we're working some of the smallest muscles of our upper back and rear shoulder.
Speak for yourself. Mine are massive.
And these are not going to like grow super quickly.
Yep. So, I like it.
All right.
And like keep track.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that at the end, but like
test
where you're at. Test where you're at and watch yourself get better.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is kind of similar vibe, but improve the number of push-ups you can do in a row, or go from like, if you're doing push-ups on your toes to doing push-ups on your, if you're doing push-ups on your knees to being able to do push-ups on your toes.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great goal. I think it's, it's cool to be able to do like, 15, 20 plus push-ups in a row.
Right. And I would say
it's impressive.
It is impressive, especially for females, because typically females struggle with push-ups more than males. So I think this is awesome. I mean, you see a woman who can bust out a set of 10 or 15, RX push-ups. That's pretty freaking awesome.
And by RX push-ups, well, you're talking about toes, but let's go through really quickly like what we're looking for. We have a video if you just are on our YouTube and you happen to be looking around. If you just type in the word perfect, it's like Jonathan came up with this, help yourself to perfect push-ups, and the word HELP like tells you like the points of performance that we're looking for. So H is hip, which is, people don't think that this is part of it sometimes, but hips and shoulders rise up at the same time versus like letting the shoulders come up and then the butt pushes up. We call that a wormy push-up. Elbows is E. So that instead of like commonly you will see people trying to do a push-up like this.
Her arms are out 90 degrees.
Keeping your elbows in nice and tight. Think about the position you'd be in to do like a bench press. And we want to kind of replicate that position on the floor. L is to lay flat on the ground. When you start in the push-up, that means that the chest and the thighs hit the ground each rep. The thighs is an important piece because I used to see a lot of people at the gym like kind of getting this pike where their butt was in the air and they're doing their push-ups and their chest is moving, but their butt was staying in a pike. So when we're looking for a perfect push-up, we're looking for chest and thighs.
Yeah.
And then P is plank. I feel like in a plank position.
We have my laptop right here.
Oh
Let's refresh our memory.
HELP. Plank? Yeah. Started in the plank.
You say so.
Which is why
we are going to have to edit this down.
No, I think it's funny. Anyway, those are the points of performance we're looking for when we're looking for that perfect push-up. So some things that you can do is definitely like if you're following Digital Barbell programming.
It is plank verified.
Is the L, was that right on the L?
L is lay completely on the floor.
Yeah,
so that's chest and thighs to the
So
ground.
plank basically is like
the top position.
The top position, yeah. So every day do push-ups in your warm-up. Like if your warm-up is 2 to 3 rounds of 10 squats, make it 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups.
Yeah. As your general warm up.
Yeah, as your general warm up to get your body warm, like adding those push-ups just gives you an extra like 30 push-ups a day that you're doing. And that's just doing that alone, you will get so much more volume and you will definitely get better at push-ups.
Yeah. And just start where you're at, whatever your level is.
And if you're already like pretty good at push-ups, but you want to increase that number that you can do, some things you can do is continue to work on your bench press, continue to add weight there, work on adding some tempo push-ups. I really like these where you like kind of similar to the letting yourself like slowly go down on the pull-up bar. Same thing as like do a push-up and then allow yourself to slowly go down, adding that tempo, and then adding some weight to your back. I like these too, where you're putting like a plate or something on your back and doing a set of push-ups. So just makes your body heavier.
Practice this with a light weight first, especially how you're going to get out of position.
We have a cool video too about how to get in and out of position. This was a challenge we had. I think last year was weighted push-ups.
It was tough.
It was tough.
We kept forgetting to do it with the main problem because the weights are out here in the gym. And by the end of the day,
I'm already in my pajamas. I can't go do these.
Yeah. I would say also, I've noticed this in myself and with clients that if you're going for max reps push-ups, you're going to have a better performance if you focus on going fast, because you can just kind of outpace the fatigue that's building up in your muscles. So if you're somebody who can already do a decent set of push-ups, practice your speed. Try to be explosive, because you're going to have to get through these reps really quickly.
Off the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole rep needs to be fast. Try to get through these sets as fast as possible.
With the full range of motion, though.
Of course.
I do think that sometimes when you're moving fast, those
No cheating.
push-ups can be a little short.
Right. And I would say if you're somebody who is an intermediate or advanced push-upper currently, a good goal would be to add like 10 sets to your max set of push-ups over the, whatever left of 2024, just to give you a little bit of a goal to shoot for. Don't underestimate like the power of getting stronger. You said doing more bench press. Getting stronger is going to make push-ups easier. So think about all the muscles that are involved in doing a push-up and focus on getting stronger on those things. And we all know that strength is built in the lower rep ranges with weights that are close to about 80% of your max. So a strength training program is going to help you get better at push-ups.
Kind of go like this. You have his headphones are falling apart, and you have like dust on you. Got it.
You stupid headphones.
Okay, I have a fun push-up story. So this is, for all the ladies out there. I think a lot of women are better at the hand release push-ups, and then when it comes to men doing the hand release push-ups, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do these. And I think that is somewhat because women do, like when they learn how to do push-ups correctly, they allow themselves to go all the way to the floor. And sometimes guys go a little too fast and get that like Sylvester Stallone push-up situation going on. When we were at my gym, I won a contest, a hand release push-up contest against some really strong boys. Yeah. Because when it came to the hand release, they couldn't keep up because they weren't used to training the full range of motion. So
you guys heard it here first. Blakely thinks men cheat and women are better. That's the platform she's running on.
When it comes to push-ups. So I'm just saying, if you
maybe men are better at like using the stretch reflex than women, and since it goes away.
But you never know when you might find yourself in a hand release push-up contest. So go ahead and do those push-ups correctly from the beginning, guys. You never know. You don't want to get beat by a girl.
Sounds like a plan. I've been beaten by girls in many things, so I'm not ashamed.
All right. Third one. I like this one too. I'm circling the ones I want to do. I've got them all circled so far. Improve your mile run time by 5 to 10%.
And I would say like the faster you already are, the lower percentage you should be aiming for.
I need to figure out some math about what would 5 to 10% be. Say you ran a 10-minute mile.
What you have to do again, I already said I'm not good at math, but I think the easiest way to do it is probably convert your current time into minutes. Figure out what 90% of that is, and then convert it back to minutes after you convert it to seconds. So 10 minutes.
Oh, you mean convert it to seconds?
Yeah.
It's already, so if you say you run a 10-minute
because nobody's going to run a like 9 or 10 minute exact mile. Like it's going to be somewhere like an odd number. So convert it to seconds. Remove 10% of that number and then reconvert it back to minutes. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Get your computer again.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So let's talk about some practical.
Or you can just say, I want to shave 10 seconds off my mile time, or I want to shave 30 seconds off my mile time.
Yeah. But if you're running a 10-minute mile and your goal is to shave 10 seconds off, like you could just have a really good night of sleep and run 10 seconds faster if you're running a 10-minute mile.
So if you're currently running a 10-minute mile, could you say like, I want to run a 9-minute mile?
I would need to run the numbers on it. I'm not just not that good at math, unfortunately. But and I would also say like, don't just go test your mile once and then set your goal based on that. Do it 2 or 3 times and look at the average of those things. Because like I said, you could just have a good or bad night's sleep and it drastically affect. Or maybe you deadlifted the day before and your legs are smoked. So anyway, figure out that before you set your goal. Okay. All right, how are we going to get our mile time down? And I have personal experience with this because I've messed with this several times over the last few years with pretty good success, actually. So number 1, get your legs stronger. Just like I said with the push-ups, stronger legs can help you run faster. So don't neglect your strength training when you're trying to do this. Use some intervals, like carve out some time once per week to run some intervals. We're going to do like a 400-meter hard effort followed by a 200-meter easy effort. And we're going to repeat that 3 or 4 times. Makes you more efficient at the times where you are pushing hard. And it's a proven technique for getting faster in this time domain. Yeah. Also, don't sleep on doing about 2 30-ish minute zone 2, as the kids like to call it, cardio sessions. running, preferably, since that's what we're training for. And this is just an easy effort where it's not like a walk, but it's not really a run either. It's just a jog where you could carry on a conversation with the person next to you about what's going on in life, but it would be like you running along like, hey, yeah. And then we went to the
You have to take
coffee
like a
shop.
deep breath.
Yeah, it was fine, but now I'm feeling pretty good. So it sounds like that when
Yeah.
you're in this heart rate zone.
Yeah.
That is like building your overall aerobic capacity, and that's going to translate to a faster mile time too. This is another one people don't really think about. Probably get better at running.
Yeah, your actual form of running.
Right.
And that's true. That's totally true. I think that's one of the things we all just think like we can all just do because we can do it, but we don't know that we're actually doing it efficiently and effectively.
Yeah. And that's not really something that I can like talk about on this podcast because
Right.
that would be a very visual thing, and I don't pretend to be an expert on it also. But there's a lot of resources on the internet for improving your running form. So,
and I mean, if you're really serious about this one and you happen to have a friend that's good at running, run with that friend. I mean, nothing makes you run faster than like, number one, letting somebody that's good at running see how you run. And number two, trying to chase somebody that's just a little bit faster than you.
That's a great point. Like when 2 years ago, when I was trying to improve my mile, I ran a mile with our next door neighbor, who's a great runner. And I kind of kept up with him and he talked me through pacing during that time. And it was my fastest mile that I ran. And I'd already been training for like a month. And since then, without him, what it showed me was like, oh, okay, this is what this feels like. This is how I should be pushing myself and where I should strategize, like really pushing towards the end of this run and keeping enough in the reserve so I really can push it at the end. But it showed me like what I was capable of too. And that kind of removed a little bit of a mental barrier about how hard I could push myself and actually recover from running hard. And since then I've knocked, almost 10 seconds off that time, which I thought like was the best I was ever going to do. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. A little personal story there.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the mile time?
I think
other than the math
good.
lesson?
Yeah.
All right.
Help us with math. All right. Next one. Fourth one. Pick a body part to grow.
Chia. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was dumb.
I was always thinking about like the thing growing out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's okay to have an aesthetic goal
Yeah.
to chase for the end of the year too. Like people get self-conscious about a certain body part, or they want to bring a certain body part up to achieve a certain look or whatever.
Calves.
So whatever it is, your calves, your glutes, your chest, your biceps, your triceps, your shoulders, let's focus on that thing. And we're going to have to find a way to know if we're getting better. So I would recommend taking some measurements with a flexible measuring tape, or if you don't have one, just use a string, loop it around you, mark how long the string was, and then measure that on a ruler or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't want to buy a measuring tape, take objective progress pictures to see how things are changing. I would recommend you like propping your phone up in a windowsill, using the timer, the front facing camera if you want, and take the pictures that way where you can see your whole body. Don't stand in the mirror with the phone in front of your chest or like hold it out to the side and like, no, let's get some like legitimate progress pictures and then compare them side by side in an app like Diptyque or PhotoGrid to really see the progress.
Yeah, it's so much
time.
better. It truly is than like the flip back and forth in your phone. Like,
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work as good as seeing them side by side. We have so many clients that we've shown pictures to after the fact, and they don't see it until they see them side by side, and then they're finally like, I see the improvement, I see the difference.
They're like, dang, I look good. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We need to add training volume to those muscle
that body
groups.
part, if it's if it's biceps, obviously we're adding up some we're adding some chins, we're adding some curls, or
one thing I should say, like I was going to talk about like how much volume to add, but if you're just somebody who's doing group classes or random YouTube workouts or just some unstructured exercise program, just getting on like a training program with actual isolation bodybuilding exercises, you're going to like blow up as far as progress goes because it's going to be your Newbie Gains happening all at once. So
you can actually go to digitalbarbell.com/free. We have all of our free content there, and I have an old freebie called Abs, Arms, and You Know the Rest.
Yeah.
So if your goal is anywhere in the abs, arms, and you know the rest, that program will get you some growth, especially if it's something that you've not been working on and you haven't done a structured training program. Just implementing, I think it's 5 weeks.
That's 5.
And you could repeat that. You do that twice, 2 or 3 times till the end of the year, and you would definitely see some gains.
So that's a great way. It's just switch over from exercising to training and do those exercises that really make muscles grow. If you're already somebody who is intermediate, you've been training for a while, we just need to add more volume to those specific muscle
Yeah.
groups. So try to add between 5 and 10 hard sets per week, and you'll make progress. Why don't you tell everybody what a hard set is, because I'm like losing my voice over here.
A hard set is where we're working between a certain rep range, usually between 8 to 12 to 8 to 15 reps. We're not quite going to failure, but we're going within 1 to 2 reps of failure.
There you go. Easily done. And then we can't neglect the other parts that make muscles grow, which is the recovery side of things.
Yeah.
Make
sleep.
sure you're also not trying to lose weight at the same time. We need to be eating at calorie maintenance or a slight surplus if we want to grow new muscle tissue. And we got to be eating adequate protein too. So try to aim, ladies, for, if you just throwing rough numbers out, this works for most people. Just eat like about 100 to 125. If you are a larger person, 150 grams of protein per day for a lady, you're good to go. Males try to hit between about 160 and 200 grams of protein per day, and you're good to go without like having to micromanage
Having to do
everything.
the math. Yeah. What he's getting at, it's about 0.8 to about 1.2 times your body weight. So if you weighed 100 pounds, it'd be like 100 grams. Yeah.
If you want to get super specific, we do have a free resource to tell you exactly how many calories and grams of protein, carbs, and fat we recommend. I can put a link to that in the show notes too. But rules of thumb work too. Just make sure you're eating enough calories and about in those ranges of protein. Train hard, and you'll be good to go.
Right.
Prioritize your sleep. Avoid alcohol, and you get ready to grow. Grow.
You said less booze.
What did I say just
You
then?
said avoid alcohol.
Oh, okay. Cut back on
It's
booze.
not necessary. I just wanted to point that out there because it's not necessary. You don't need to avoid alcohol to make these changes.
Yeah, you can still grow.
It doesn't hurt.
You
But
can still grow muscle
Yeah.
Drinking alcohol,
Yeah.
but it's counterproductive to growing muscle. It was like literally working
Yeah.
against you. So if this is one of your things that you're trying to accomplish before the end of the year, keep it to a minimum to set yourself up for the most progress
save it
that
for
you
the
can make.
outings and the holidays and things like that. All right.
Save it for January 1st when you've reached your goal. Just kidding.
All right. Next one. Strength train consistently 3+ times per week. So this is something that you're not already doing. If you're doing group classes and you're doing, kind of like higher intensity type workouts and you haven't yet hit the strength train or you're not working out much at all. Get this as one of your goals to tackle
Commit.
before 2025, because this is going to be a lot of people's goal for 2025. I want to start working out. I want to strength train. I want to do this. If you're already 3 to 4 months in on your strength training goal, by the time January 1st strikes, you're going to feel so good.
Yeah.
So, and the reason we say 3+ times per week is, no less than 3 per week. And so if we're consistently hitting like 4 per week and we happen to miss one, we're still hitting that minimum of 3.
Yeah.
If our goal is 3 and something derails us, then we're down to 1 or 2 per week, and that's where we're not going to make as much progress.
Yeah. And I ran the math on this.
Okay.
This episode should have been sponsored by math. There are 16 weeks left in 2024
Only
as
16.
of the week that this episode comes out.
Okay.
Try to miss, I know people love concrete numbers, so try to miss less than 3 workouts the whole rest of the year. That's gonna like help you be. That means consistency.
Yeah.
That's consistency. If you only miss 3 workouts, not 3 weeks worth of workouts,
Right.
but 3 actual workouts.
3 actual workouts. So that's like, or do you usually work out 3 times a week?
Right.
That's on your calendar. Those, you're not missing more than 3 of those. If you normally work out 4 times a week, those are on your calendar. You're not missing more than 3 of those.
Yes.
If you normally work out 5 times a week, whatever your normal is,
Commit to consistency.
Yeah.
This is a process-oriented goal, not an
Right.
outcome-oriented goal like grow your muscles. So how's this going to happen? It's going to have to be taken as seriously as paying your mortgage, as showing up to work, as making sure your kids get to practice. This is a thing that's going to be on your calendar that other things get shuffled around to accommodate. It's not going to happen if you try to fit your workout in or push it back to the weekend and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What do you have? Like literally sit down and look at your phone, go through your calendar. Where are you going for Thanksgiving? Where are you going for Christmas? What occasions do you have have coming up? And then like plan your workouts around those things. Like don't ruin your life and be like, I'm skipping those things to work out, but you
Right.
might need to move your workouts up in the week. Work out 3 days in a row where you would normally have a rest day in between. You might need to bring bands with you. You might need to ask your Digital Barbell coach for travel workouts. You might need to think about, I'm going to be in a hotel.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. Plan around not missing your workouts.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to happen.
And we say this all the time, like these workouts don't need to be perfect. Like for example, you are traveling, you have access to nothing except for the bands that you brought in your bag. That is fine. That is your workout, because it's all about creating consistency versus like, this is not going to be me under the barbell squatting, so I'm not doing it.
Yes.
Those are the things that derail you and don't allow you to come back and get right back to it. Going through a 15-minute workout with some bands and some air squats, it might seem silly at the time, but those are the things that are going to keep you going.
Yes.
Week after week after month after year.
I love
down
that.
the line.
I think we had a Monday motivation episode about this, but I want you guys to get in the habit of following up. When you say something like, I can't do my workout because, follow it up with the word so, because that's going to switch your mind into problem solving mode, where you say like, okay, we're going to be in the camper this week. We're not going to be able to get our normal workouts in. If you end right there, you don't do your workouts, you break your consistency, you feel like you failed, blah, blah, blah.
So I'm bringing my stair stepper and I'm going to be stepping.
Exactly. Like turn it into a problem solving situation and make a compromise. This is all about like making compromises to keep the momentum going so that the brain up here doesn't say, what's the point? I can't do it perfectly.
Yep.
So there you go.
There you go.
That one's free.
All right. Number 6, do something hard or something you're not good at or something you don't like to do every week. And, I was thinking about this one because, if I'm thinking about a goal to tackle personally for the end of the year, something I don't like to do is squats. So I think like, in my mind, I'm like, man, I could really, like, I would rather do that workout Chad with a weight vest for an hour, stepping over a box with a vest, than do 3 sets of 5 squats. So in my mind, I'm like, I could really strengthen my legs and I could make up a bunch of stuff to do. This is not, I'm not making this up right now because this is actually what I'm thinking in my head, like about this week's workouts, because we're supposed to be getting under the barbell after this podcast. And I'm thinking in my head all the different cool things I could be doing, when the thing that is harder for me, the thing I don't want to do, the thing I'm not good at, is getting under the barbell and squatting. So that's the thing I need to be working on till the end of the year.
Yeah. Why should we do hard things though?
Because it usually points us in the direction of something that is going to benefit us and make us better, first of all. And it's such a good mental victory to do something that we don't like to do. If you see your warm up and I've snuck in a set of 5 burpees every round and you're like, I'm doing the whole warm up because I'm not doing those burpees, I'm still in the warm up.
Yeah.
If you just did those 15 burpees, like, you're going to have this mental victory, and you might not even feel it in that moment, but just like these things just build up in your body and in your mind over time, and they make you so capable out in the real world.
Yes.
And I mean, it's really not about like getting better at squats or getting better at burpees or thrusters or whatever the thing is that is scary to you or unfamiliar or hard. It's about like these little simple like micro wins that we get out of doing these things every week.
It like builds up the proof that you can do hard things, and you start to believe in yourself.
Another hard thing I think for a lot of people could be like pushing into intensity. Like, you're really good at the strength work, but when it comes to like the finishers with the conditioning, you don't really like to push yourself and get your heart rate up. Like if that's something that you avoid, push into that, because that is not only going to improve your heart health, improve your fitness, but it's going to improve your mindset so much, because you're going to like achieve that, and you're going to feel it. You're going to know that you're okay, and you encounter something out in the world and you're going to know that you're okay.
Heck yeah. Love that one.
All right.
Last one.
Average 70K steps every week for the rest of the year. So that's like about average. That's averaging 10,000 steps a day. But if a day you get like 8,500, you make up for it on a day that you can get like 1,250. So that's why that goal is out there.
Yeah, we've done with our clients step challenges many times over the last year, and we started out by having a daily step goal. And I think it was one of our clients who like.
It was actually my aunt who.
Oh, your aunt.
Who,
she tracks her weekly steps.
Belongs to a gym, and they did a weekly.
Yeah.
They did like a monthly step goal, but bringing it down to the week so that you're not missing one day. You're not like defeated. Missing one day, oh, I got, like I just said, you got 8,000 steps in. I can get 12,000 tomorrow and I can make up for it.
Yeah, it helps
you know?
avoid that all or nothing mentality.
Because usually you know your schedule. Like today, it was crazy. I was in the car. I was busy at the desk. But tomorrow I have a little bit more flexibility and I'm going to be able to go for a walk before work. You know, you can just like, you kind of know how to game it if you have a weekly goal. So I really do like that better than a daily goal.
I do too.
But really what is this doing for you? This is just, you know, keeping you active.
Yeah, you can't stumble into getting 10,000 steps average per day. You have to be active on purpose. Nobody ever like surprisingly looked down after a day of working at their desk, be like, oh, 10,000 steps. How about that?
Especially if you're at a desk, if you're sitting at a desk.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be active on purpose. And that's the point of this, is to instill the habit of being an active person.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just saying some things that we like to do to make it in. And I feel like for us, sometimes it's usually pretty easy to do because we do these little bitty micro things by like taking like a 10-minute walk, whether we walk around the block or we walk on the treadmill before or after or both of our workouts, to taking our dogs for even just a short like up and down the street walk, you know, to checking the mail. Like we have our mailboxes pretty far up the road, but like walking to check the mail versus like driving, you know, getting it, like we'll not get it on the way we're driving in, so that we purposely have to walk to get it.
Yep.
Just little things like that. Like you won't believe how much that adds up.
Yeah. And don't sleep on the fact that all this walking is good for your mental health too.
Yeah.
It's good for your joint health and improves insulin sensitivity. And I wouldn't be surprised if it helps you lose some weight too, because you do burn calories when you are out walking too. Plus, you're out walking, getting your 10,000 steps in. That's time you can't eat unless you bring it with you.
Well, just being out in nature, it's usually just like
it was a joke.
Yeah, your jokes aren't that funny. All right. How to implement these into your schedule and your calendar for the rest of the year. It's September, mid-September, if you believe it or not. I don't know how this happened, but it's mid-September and we don't have that much time left for the end of the year. So you can pick out one or all of these goals. They can all be done together, or you can pick out one or two or whatever, whichever ones you like. And create, like, based on like the notes that we're going to giving you in this podcast. And I'm actually thinking about like, I think I should type this up so people can actually read it and actually use these goals. So I think I'm going to make it into a little blog on our website, and you'll be able to click the link, see the notes, and so that you can actually like add these to your weekly and monthly calendar.
Okay.
Like however you work out, wherever you work out, if you work out with Digital Barbell, we can help you implement these. But if you don't, like, getting these into your workout somehow on your calendar so that you can, like, for example, with the push-ups, you know, making sure that you're doing 3 sets of 10 push-ups in your warm-ups if you're not already doing that, you know, these type of things, like putting the days you're going to go for run intervals and putting the days you're going to go for a longer 30-minute interval on your calendar. And that's what I'm talking about.
I like it.
And like we were talking about earlier, keep track of where you are, and keep track of, you know, what you're doing for your goals, and then retest. So if it's something like the pull-ups, you know, you might be working on a lot of these accessory movements, you know, document where you are now, work on the accessory movements over, you know, a month, and continue to retest those things, because, you know, you never know when it's going to happen.
That's right.
And lastly, get somebody on board with you. You know, find a buddy and tell them about these goals, and tell them about your goal, and like try to do it together. Yeah. Because that's going to just help even more. You guys can, you know, challenge each other, and
you might be a competitive person and like really enjoy that. I want to say one last thing about this is, like, we're kind of talking about could be 7 challenges, you know, like, and people love challenges. Yeah. So the problem with challenges is that it pushes us into the all or nothing mentality a lot of times. Let's say you pick the push-up one, and 2 weeks in a row, you can't do your push-ups, you forget to do your push-ups or whatever, and you still have, you know, 13 weeks left in the year. What should you do that you already missed 2 weeks? There's only 13 weeks left. You could easily flip into the all or nothing mentality and think that you already messed up, the challenge is ruined. True. What's the point? We don't want you to do that. Think about this. If you were trying to go 30 days with no alcohol, and you and a friend were, and on day 13, for whatever reason, you had alcohol, what would you, or your friend, this happened to your friend, what advice would you give that friend? And they were doing this for their overall health. Would you say, well, you've already ruined 30-day challenge. You might as well just go back to drinking every day. Or would you say, okay, you accidentally had alcohol that day. There's still way more days left in the month than you didn't have alcohol. Let's just keep it going. So that's the same thing with this. If you mess up, which you probably will invariably because you are a human if you're listening to this, just get right back to it. Make the next right decision. Even if it's been like a week, 2 weeks, whatever, don't fall off track.
Yeah.
Don't let that mentality creep in. Keep going. The only way you lose is if you quit.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Had to get that off my chest.
All right.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Check the show notes for that stuff that Blake Lee talked about. And I'll put links to all those other things that we mentioned and looked up on our computer here also. And if you want to see what your options are for working with us, also check out the link in the description. If you have any questions, reach out. We're happy to talk. All right. Have a good day.